The college football playoff semifinals are
CFP.
finally here.
Semis.
2 games remaining, and then we'll know our national championship. First game of the week.
Natty,
on
baby.
Thursday, Notre Dame and Penn State.
Woo-hoo.
A matchup that I don't know how many people predicted. A lot of people had Georgia in there. A lot of people thought Penn State maybe wasn't that good, even though Penn State kind of had a walk to get to this spot. But we're here. Yeah. Notre Dame, 1.5 point favorites, total 45.5. Mario, I want to start with you on this one. Notre Dame being favored here, it doesn't really surprise me, but I don't know how many people would have thought after the way Penn State kind of looked their last 2 games, they'd be underdogs again.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised too, but I mean, Notre Dame, they did take down Georgia. That was impressive.
Yeah.
But man, I just love Penn State.
Really?
Oh, I love Penn State in this spot. I think this is a trap line, to be honest. I think this is one of those games where, listen, Notre Dame looked good last game. They did their job. They did what they're supposed to do. I think that game came down to just the team that made the critical errors lost. Notre Dame, yes, they had quite a few penalties, like false starts and like defensive holdings and stuff, but it was never like a crucial like game-altering penalty. And props to God, what's his name? Marcus Freeman, the coach. Yeah, he had them well coached. He had them ready to go. Kirby Smart. He was working with, a backup quarterback and kind of trying to make the most out of a Georgia team that usually is, has the most talented players. We saw that this year, they were looking a little bit more average.
It's his worst roster under Georgia, probably, right? At least in recent history.
Yeah, it's interesting when everyone can pay people.
Yeah, you watch what happens to the SEC as soon as you start paying players. You no longer
You're
have...
right. It's by a mile. It's
Quickly on that topic, I saw a theory earlier this week, like a couple days ago.
Cool, I don't care. Anyways,
okay.
Penn State. I had to. Go ahead.
Continue. No,
we gotta hear the theory, Mike. We gotta hear the theory.
I'll say it once.
Okay. But I just couldn't resist. I'm sorry. I'm just on a Texas grind this week, so anything. It's fine.
Hey, keep it in the episode. Penn State,
I know. Penn State, Notre Dame.
Texas will come. Don't worry.
But last game,
so mad.
I'm perfectly fine.
No, put your hoodie on, hoodie Mike. Let's see hoodie Mike. No, Notre Dame. That was a weird game just due to the incident that happened when the game, the day before, and the game getting pushed back. And I should have known Notre Dame was always winning that. It's in New Orleans.
If only someone told you.
No, but if you just actually look, big picture. I mean, their team name is Notre Dame, and they're in New Orleans. I mean, that's all you need to know. I mean, it was like God and the French.
God
both
country.
On their side.
That's what the guy said pregame.
Yeah.
Like, there's
so
only, God country. Notre Dame
that was just one of those spots where it was a good feel-good story. I'm actually happy because I like Riley Leonard just like individually. I'm kind of happy to see him go somewhere, especially coming off that brutal injury. But this is a game they're not ready for. Penn State, I think, wins by at least 7, possibly 10.
Wow. Okay, so you love plus the money.
I love plus the money. All over it.
Michael, you were saying.
Your theory.
The theorist.
You were saying.
They call him the theorist.
Yeah, getting back into that, Mario was talking about how he doesn't think Georgia is good, or he made a comment pretty much that I was saying Kirby's
a weaker roster than you.
Weaker roster, pretty much because of NIL. Granted, like I said, there's a theory that I saw. I don't know if it's true, but somebody was kind of predicting that maybe it has to do with because of COVID, there's a lot of extended eligibilities. And so you see some of these smaller programs that are making a bigger push with older rosters. Yeah. Like they're actual
24.
Exactly. There's like 23,
Shout
24
out Cam Rising.
olds.
Ninth season next year.
Yep. There are guys playing 6 years of football, college football. You're just getting a lot of like experienced players who are going to go up against guys who are 18.
Yeah.
Granted, they're really, really good for their class, but they're 4 years younger. Like that makes a difference, especially in college football. It's all about physicality. It's literally like that's why juniors will get snaps over freshmen, regardless of their star rating out of high school. But back into the game, I 100% agree with Mario. Personally, I know that on paper, the Notre Dame resume for this college football playoff with Indiana into Georgia is far more significant, not even close, than SMU Boise State.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely. The only thing that I think keeps PSU in this game more and actually wins it for them is I think both these teams, Notre Dame and Penn State, are riding off of their defenses more than their offenses. I think Penn State has a really good ability to put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks, and Riley Leonard in general, I don't think is the greatest, true passer. I think he relies very heavy on his mobility. I think Penn State is going to have the ability to kind of send the spy and lock that down. And then out of their past 4 games, they've gotten 3 interceptions. If you can get a pick off of Riley Leonard, pretty much completely shut down whatever passing offense they have, that's going to turn every tide their way. I think it's Penn State by a route here.
Wow, so 2 Penn State by routes. Not even close games.
I don't think it's close.
You said 7+, and you said not even close. Ryan, are you agreeing with them? Is the Big Ten just going to dominate this entire postseason?
This is tough because I've watched that Georgia game was just. I mean, this team all year. Georgia hasn't looked good, and Notre Dame just caught him at a good time. You'll never see Kirby Smart coach a game like that with that many mistakes, penalties, turnovers, in weird spots.
Some mistakes out of his control.
The guy on the
Shout out
sideline.
Parker Jones.
Yeah,
Parker Jones.
No, I know.
Big number 3'9".
No, but also like in that play, people were freaking out about that play. The ball was spot on
He
like
got death threats.
The ball was spot on the 11-yard line. They went back to the 26-yard line. So like, yeah, you lost 15 yards.
I mean, it's pretty significant.
But it doesn't. It's not like the play didn't count or like you went back to the 20.
No, I'm just saying.
in the red zone or out.
Yeah, I mean, it was
right?
like you're at the
that's
10-yard
pretty
line
big.
versus the
I'm with
26.
Ryan. That didn't change the game.
No, I think in the NFL, it's not that big of a difference. But in college, when kicking is so like suspect.
But you have the best kickers in the
I was gonna
world
say,
on the field.
Notre Dame or Georgia's kicker is the best kicker.
No,
Yeah,
he
both
is.
their kickers.
He is. But I'm just saying it's
No, okay, maybe it could have
with
been
the backup.
It's definitely
You also
Right,
scheme
It's
it
definitely a
differently.
bigger deal, but like it's not like what their death threats. Like you
That
lost
didn't
the game
change-
for
No,
100 other reasons.
That didn't
Yeah,
change
yeah.
the game.
No, that didn't
change
change
that.
that
Okay.
didn't lose the
No.
game.
No, yeah, I just thought like the turnover in the first half and letting a kickoff return for a touchdown, which you
Yeah.
can't even look up Georgia's stats on the last time they let that happen. I couldn't even tell you. So like
Georgia still
That's true.
outgained Notre Dame.
that's what I'm saying. So it was just like it was just a weird like enigma that I saw. I still have to be proved by this Notre Dame. I don't know why. It's in the back of my head. Riley Leonard, I think in that game threw for 80 yards or
90
something.
yards.
90. So like there's no way against I think Georgia had good pieces on defense. They weren't good as a whole. Penn State as a whole I think is better on defense. And I think they'll be able to get to Riley Leonard and their cornerbacks are better.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's going to be I've watched Riley Leonard in the games they win. He doesn't like he's being mobile and doing the right things at the right time. It's now going to be his game to take over. Jeremiah Love, he seems beat up. I don't know how on he's going to be, if he's going to be 100%. The run game's not going to be great. I can tell you right now. They're not going to run for a lot against Penn State. Just doesn't happen. Even Oregon, when they scored 1 million, threw the ball down their throat.
Gabriel had to go.
So like
crazy,
it's going to be Riley Leonard. I don't see it. And I'm taking the best players on the field. I think I'd rather have Drew Lar, Tyler Warren. The running back duo I think is better healthy right now. So currently
Singleton, right?
Singleton and
I love
both of them are freaks.
Singleton and
Kaytron Allen. Yeah. So they're both freaks. The best player on the field, I think, is Tyler Warren, one of the best tight end in the country, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm just taking Penn State here. I don't think it'll be a blowout because of the way these two teams play. They play in styles that keep games close. Run the ball, waste clock, don't put 50 on your head. But Penn State should be in control. For
Could
most
be
of
a
the
quick
game.
game. One thing I didn't say, which I just want to say real quick, is when you said you want to see Notre Dame prove it to you, I guess part of me, or that like reminded me of something I wanted to bring up was just like, I want to see this Notre Dame team actually have to play from behind. Because this is a team that like is
Okay.
always in control.
That's a great point,
It's
yeah.
always close. Like I'm just saying, theoretically, if this game ever is like 10-0 and all of a sudden Riley Leonard like can't hand the ball off 2 times and then like scramble or throw a 5-yard pass, like they have to actually put up points. That's just a spot where, for me, I don't trust Notre Dame as much as Penn State being able to come back. So,
I agree.
anyways,
Yeah.
I know Tyler's on.
Yeah, well, I'm alone once again
Yeah.
on this side on Notre Dame. And I really like Notre Dame here. I'm surprised at some of the takes, to be honest, about pretty much from everyone about Notre Dame not having proved it to you yet, and you still need to see it from Notre Dame, and then you haven't seen them play from behind, when that's exactly kind of my quorum with Penn State. I mean, any game they've got behind all season, they've lost, right? In the playoffs, they've had the easiest route, going SMU and Boise. I think Notre Dame has proved it to me against Georgia. I mean, I don't know. I get Gunnar Stockton is not Carson Beck. Carson Beck hadn't been playing great. Gunnar Stockton threw for 240, a touchdown.
No, Gunnar Stockton
picks,
actually was
and their receivers
amazing.
were dropping balls. Like, I don't think this was a Carson Beck issue. They out-physicaled Georgia. every way about it. They rushed for 154. They held Georgia to 66 yards on 29 carries. So we're talking about Penn State's run defense, which is elite. I mean, they held Ashton Genty, to 100 yards, 106 yards or whatever it was on 40 carries, which is fantastic.
Which is like half what he averages.
In like a half of
Literally.
football. Yeah, totally. And I think that had more to do with the offensive line of Boise than it did Ashton Genty as a whole. But I think this Notre Dame run defense has been outstanding, and their rushing offense has been really good too.
Yeah.
So this is going to come down the line of scrimmage, and it's what team can run the ball, because neither of these two defenses is lackluster in any way. They're both some of the best defense in the country, and they're both two of the best run teams in the country, and they stick with the run. Neither team really abandons it at any point in the game. I get the Drew Allar better than Riley Leonard thing. I think we'll see that play out. We'll see how good they are against their relative defenses. We know he can throw well. Jeremiah Love, I know you said we didn't know his status. He practiced with the second team, took all the snaps with the backups, and had a leg brace on.
I think
so
he'll be healthy.
He's going to be active to play. I don't think he'll be healthy, and he's not in line to
That's
start.
huge.
So
Yeah, that is massive.
that being said, I totally think Notre Dame is the more battle-tested, proven team. I think they're the hotter team. Penn State hasn't won a big game all season. Right? It's kind of the craziest thing to think about, but they are. I was talking to Ryan about this early in the week. They're the first team to ever make the semifinals of the college football playoffs without having won a really big game. Their top 10. Still haven't beat a top 10 team. SMU was ranked 11, and Boise was Boise I guess was ranked 9.
Mm-hmm.
So you could. Sorry, if you're a Boise fan, take that as you want. I don't think personally they're a top 12 school.
Still
in
like
the
a
country.
fringe top 10 team, not like a top 5.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the other two teams they've beat are lost or played that were really tough. They lost to Ohio State, and who else did they lose to? Oregon in the Big Ten championship. They're good teams, but I just think Notre Dame's proven it to me. I saw everything I needed against Georgia. I think we see Penn State get down early, and we haven't seen them be able to come back and win when they're in that spot. So I love Notre Dame -1.5. Think they go to the national championship, and I think Riley Leonard proves a lot of people wrong in this game. But yeah,
Damn.
Wow.
I guess I'm alone on
He's gonna
that.
have to run a lot.
That's a lone wolf
I
take.
haven't seen him
'cause
throw in 2.5 years.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't had to. I mean Notre Dame's the hottest team in football right now.
That's true. It's also you
I'd
gotta
argue
give
Ohio
credit
State,
where
but
credit's due for.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay,
Besides Ohio State.
there's a difference between the best team in football and then the hottest team. Notre Dame has won 12 or 13 consecutive football games. Ohio State's won 2 in a row.
I think
The game before that they lost to
the
Michigan.
third best SEC team by 20 and the best team in the nation by 20.
No, I'm saying hottest on the biggest streak right now in college football.
Yeah, beating
Like
Army and Navy doesn't get me excited as beating Tennessee.
They just beat Georgia. What do you mean? Why are you bringing up Army Navy?
They
beat
beat
Georgia.
a
You just
depleted
talked
Georgia.
about
talking
all-
about the streak.
You literally just talked about the streak.
I
and
said they're
brought
on
up-
the hottest
And I
streak.
brought up it. I didn't fact. I don't think those are as
He
important.
thinks
as
like
winning.
half those games are kind of like wash away.
I'd rather
I mean,
have two
I
massive
agree with
wins
Ryan
than
there. I
over
think-
the.
I think their regular season
I
resume
would
is
agree with
garbage.
that.
How can 2 wins in
They're-
a row after losing to a 7-win team be the hottest team in football?
No, I
Hottest
agree
team
with that.
is longevity of winning.
Yeah.
And you're on
No,
a
the
roll.
hottest team should be Arizona State, but we don't need to talk about that.
They were on a good roll too. But I'm just
They were
saying,
on a good
hottest
roll.
team
I mean, they
is
were a
good
not
team.
the same as best team. They're completely different.
It's an opinion. I choose hottest team as Ohio State.
I side with you, Ryan.
I side with Tyler.
That's fair.
How do-
You guys are both opinionated.
Wait, but how is 2 wins after a loss make you the hottest?
I think Ryan's maybe thinking more just like the form they're in.
It's the resume.
They're like the most like
that
informed.
switch after Michigan made them the hottest. There's nothing that could stop them. Notre Dame is just because they've won a lot doesn't mean I don't think Penn State could stop them. I don't think Ohio State could be stopped right now. They're the hottest team right
I
now.
don't think hottest team is a comment on how they're playing. It's what they've done. The results oriented. They
So
have won.
you're
but
just
the
taking
most-
9 games. I'm taking 2 games. That's the
Yeah.
only difference. I think the 2 games are more impressive than the 9 games.
I agree with that sentiment.
They beat the third best
completely.
team in the country, and they beat the number 1 team in the country who's undefeated.
I really, really, really think the 2 playoff games Notre Dame put together are not far behind.
They were both favorites.
How-
Indiana was the worst ranked, one of the worst ranked teams on all of our pot. Mario said,
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I gave him a 0%.
and
chance.
Georgia's a great win. I'm not.
I
arguing
mean, in
it's
my
a win.
opinion, I think Indiana's a better win than Georgia.
No, that's crazy. What? That's absurd.
Personal
I'm not
opinion.
gonna-
Dude, what?
Georgia.
Who
play-
let this kid up?
Dude,
Take away the mic.
There's not.
You're on timeout. You're on
no,
timeout.
let us.
I'm just
Indiana over Georgia is nuts.
I do. I think it. I think watching how Georgia played, you could see that there was a lot of rust with that team. They started off way slower than they normally did throughout the year.
Do you think
It's
Notre
not
Dame
like I
had
think-
anything to do with that?
I think it also has
So
to.
that makes them worse than Indiana?
I think a team that has zero momentum going into a ball game and then having to shake off the rust of the buys and then kind of get into a form. Not to mention that they were playing without the guy that got them to the dance. Kind of hurts. But I think that is a severely depleted Georgia
This
team.
is the problem I have with people
really
when they talk, like, when you're looking retroactively at something when it's already happened, you're looking in the past. Like, Georgia was one of the 2 favorites. I think they were just behind Ohio State for national championship favorites heading into last week. They were one of the, like, everyone pre-game is like, this is up there with Ohio State as the best team in the entire country. They had better odds to win the Natty than Oregon. Granted, that was because Oregon's playing Ohio State. Yeah. But it's like, everyone looked at this team like insanely, like arguably the best team in college football. And then they get dominated physically by a Notre Dame team. And then the commentary is, oh, Georgia's not that good. Notre Dame still hasn't.
Me and Mike have been saying Georgia hasn't.
When we're doing our individual team previews for this playoff, I never said Georgia had a chance. I always was the one person on this podcast.
I also said I wish I could put them as a non-contender.
You also said my pick with Notre Dame as my biggest bet of the week was the worst bet in history.
I thought it was a spot for Georgia's defense to actually show up because I didn't think that.
So you thought Georgia was going to win?
I didn't think Notre Dame would be able to play a balanced offense and get them the dub.
Correct. So you thought Georgia was going to win last week because you thought they were the better team.
Sure.
Exactly my point. And now we're looking back on it like that was never the case, and this wasn't a hard game. Which is revisionist history. That's not what you said last week.
I see what you're saying. I think going into a playoffs, I would have never put Georgia as highly regarded as you guys would have. And I think it's to be as crazy out of left field as this is going to be for a grab. But it's like, it's kind of similar to the FSU, why they weren't allowed into a playoffs. I don't think Georgia should have been regarded as highly without Carson Beck. Similarly,
I think
they beat Texas without Carson Beck.
This is a hot take. I think they looked better with.
They beat Texas without Carson Beck. It wasn't a quarterback problem.
Also, I know the score doesn't reflect how close the game was, but that Notre Dame Georgia game was close. Like
it was close in the first quarter because there was minimal points.
First half.
No. I mean, even like it took a strip sack with 30 seconds left, and then they followed up with a kickoff to like expand the points. But like, there's a reason. These aren't my words. These are Riley Leonard and Marcus Freeman. Both, when they were interviewed right after, both said, yeah, it was an ugly game, but we got the win. They both knew, like, that game was close. There were so many moments where Georgia, like, left points out. And, whether it was, like, a big sack to kind of take them out of field goal range or obviously, like, penalties or whatever, like, a lot of mistakes happened. And I'm giving Notre Dame their flowers. They've made no mistakes. The team with no critical errors just did their job. But, like, that was a close game, but there's no way you could tell me Indiana, if they play either of those two teams, I mean, they got handled by Notre Dame. There's no way.
I mean, Indiana had 3 points until.
I mean, there's no way they go against.
There's
no way they walk in against Georgia in that situation and all of a sudden just there's no way. You're fair. Out of your mind.
That's fair.
Hey, there you have it. I'm a lone wolf on Notre Dame. Everyone else thinks Penn State easy. Let us know in the comments. Do you think Notre Dame has a shot? Do you think they're going to win outright, or is this, as the overall majority says, just to blow out by Penn State, and we're going to get maybe an all Big Ten championship? Let us know what you think in the comments.
Actually, I would like to see Notre Dame win the game. Personally.
Let us know if you would too.
But I think Penn State. I'm betting Penn State.
Everyone's on Penn State except for me. We'll see what happens.
I don't care.
Let us know.
Love it.
And we're locked in all week. College football playoffs, baby.